Hello, everyone, and welcome to another CIS mini lesson. Today, we're going to be talking about HTML and CSS. Specifically, we're going to be looking at how to create a simple image slider. So I'm going to click over into my mockup over here. On the left side of the screen, we're seeing the mockup in text or in code. And on the right side of the screen, we're seeing what's produced, what's rendered in the browser. So currently, I have this image and I have some text below it, but I'd like to actually create this to be a sliding image to have a couple of other images with it so that I can kind of give a little bit more insight into my turtles. So how might I do that? Well, first and foremost, I'm going to need some additional images. So what I can do is I'm going to copy these sections. And now what we're seeing is that we've got these images that are all stacked on top of each other. But that's not really helping my cause because I want to make sure that they're going to slide. As well, they're all showing the same image. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to change this to 2. I'm going to change this to 3 because I already have some images inside of my CSS. So now I want to jump over to my CSS and we're going to see that right now I've got some HTML styling, some section styling, and section is going to be each of the elements that are holding my images. And then I've also got my actual slides. So each one of the sections that we saw, these are the background images that correspond with each. So what I want to do first is I want to create a slide or slides area in my CSS or slides selector, if you will. And I'm going to add a display property, and I'm going to add flex. So this is the first part of how I'm going to get my slider to work. So I'm going to use flex to be able to get each of my images all to be horizontally across and not stacked as if they're a block. The next thing I want to do is I want to add an overflow. And specifically, I want to add overflow X because I want to make sure that my overflow is on the horizontal, or that I'm handling my overflow on the horizontal. So now we're seeing that we're already able to slide, which is nice, but that's not quite what I'm looking for. I like the idea that I can slide, but I want to be able to see each image. And I want to be able to snap to each image. So what we can do to go next, or next step, is we can use this scroll snap type, and we can say mandatory. Okay. But we're still not quite getting that snappy feeling that I'm looking for. Now, you can get it when it hits the end, but it doesn't quite do it when it's seeing that middle or any of the images that are in the center, I guess you could say, those center elements. So what we can do is add an X. Whoop, there we go. We can add X, and this is going to guarantee that we're going to snap on the X. Whoop. Oh, so when I'm adding the X, this is going to guarantee that we're going to be able to keep that snap on the X-axis. But there is one more thing that I will need to do, and it actually regards not necessarily working with the slides directly as an individual slide, but working with all the slides collectively. So the way that I want to do this is I want to add in a scroll snap align. And our snap align is going to now get the exact functionality that I'm looking for by snapping each picture to a start. So basically where the image starts, that's where it's going to snap. So here, seeing the second image, third image, so on and so forth. Now, the last thing that we can do is if we go back into our HTML, we can go into our header that's holding all of our images and our slider now. We can give it a title just to help our users understand that they can scroll. I can say scroll left or right, something like that. So when I hover over, There we go. So when I hover over, we see this little title that pops up that says that I can either scroll left or right. And we can see that it scrolls. We can see that it's snappy. And we can see that we now have this very simple image slider without having to do a whole lot to be able to get there. And we get the luxury of being able to keep it within the HTML and CSS world, which means that we don't need any actual JavaScript to make this work. So it makes it a little bit more compliant with the web and accessibility. So on that note, that is how to put together a simple image slider. I hope you enjoyed this mini lesson, and I hope you come back for more.